Greetings, kindred friend. Let us spend a quiet moment right now. Try to recall how you felt after a tense argument. Was it an exhausting fatigue in your chest? Your hands were still trembling slightly. Your heart rate was restless, and your mind constantly replayed the sharp words you wished you had uttered to win? Dear friend, have you ever asked yourself, over the past half of your life, how many drops of your precious energy have you wasted just trying to change the mind of someone who had already closed their heart? We live in a world that teaches, if attacked, you must fight back. If criticized, you must justify yourself. We fear that if we remain silent, we will become weak or apathetic. But tonight, Buddhist wisdom gives you a key to reclaim the sovereignty of your soul. That is the power of non-reaction. Understand this liberating truth. Ignoring is not cowardice, nor is it cold indifference. Ignoring is actually a pinnacle of wisdom. Because sometimes the smartest action a human being can take is precisely doing nothing at all. Sometimes the greatest act of intelligence is not reacting at all. Tonight, I invite you to explore with me the art of wordlessness. How to conserve your golden vital energy against the agitations of the world. Stay with me until the end of this journey, so you realize that, when you stop jumping into every unnecessary battle, that is exactly when true peace officially begins to reside in your heart. The trap of reaction. When we hand the key to our peace to a stranger. Dear friend, there is a silent habit that has taken root in us since childhood, nourished by social prejudices. That is the belief that if attacked, we must fight back. We are taught that silence is cowardly, that speaking up to protect the ego is a manifestation of strength and self-respect. However, tonight, as your chest has begun to loosen with your breath, I invite you to look straight into this liberating truth. Every time you react to a provocation, you are unintentionally handing the key to your happiness into the hands of another. Understand that, for those who intentionally try to hurt you with words or actions, the only thing they crave is exactly your reaction. They need to see you angry. They need to see you justify yourself. They need to see your peace muddied. The moment you let their fierce wave drag you into an argument, you have immediately lost. Not losing in terms of reasoning, but losing in the battle to protect your own aura. Let me share with you a metaphor that I really like, an image about the boat and the stones. Imagine your life as a boat leisurely drifting on a deep blue river heading toward a peaceful harbor. Suddenly, from the shore, someone throws a small stone toward your boat. The stone might just lightly touch the side of the boat or splash into the water. A wise traveler will smile and continue their journey. But most of us choose to stop the boat, step ashore, pick up that stone, and try to throw it back at that person with all our might. Do you see it? While you are engrossed in throwing stones back, your boat has stopped, the clear water has been muddied, and most importantly, you have lost your own rhythm of peace just because of a stranger holding no meaning in your life. We spend our whole lives cleaning the boat, but are willing to let it rot because of the stones of hatred. The Buddha's wisdom on this issue is encapsulated in a sacred story that I want you to take into sleep tonight. Once, a man came to the Buddha and ceaselessly hurled insults and slandered him before a crowd. The Buddha just remained silent, his eyes tolerant and still like an autumn lake. When that man had run out of words and was exhausted, he gently asked, "My friend, if you bring a gift to someone, but that person refuses to accept it, then to whom will that gift ultimately belong?" The man was stunned and then replied, "Of course, it still belongs to me." The Buddha smiled. "Likewise, your insults today, I absolutely do not accept. Therefore, they are still yours." Dear friend, criticisms, injustices, or agitations out there are actually just toxic gifts. If you do not accept them, they can never hurt your soul. Reacting is not a brave instinct. It is just an automatic reflex of a fearful ego. Most arguments in this world are actually just battles of attachment to one's own rightness. Engrave this soothing truth. True strength does not lie in how strongly you can fight back, but lies in your ability to keep yourself unshaken by the ripples of the world. Tonight, allow yourself to lay down your weapons. You owe the world no explanation for your silence. When you stop reacting, you officially reclaim the mastery of your life. Let those unwanted gifts find their own way back to their owners. As for you, sleep in the relief of a boat still going downstream, serene and whole under the moon of awakening. Decoding storms of words. Why do we argue? Greetings. When we know how to refuse toxic gifts from the world, our hearts begin to have enough quiet space to ask ourselves a deeper question. Why do we find it so difficult to stay silent? Why can just a word of disagreement from a stranger, or a different viewpoint from children and grandchildren, ignite the fire of defensiveness in our chests? Let us look deep into the mechanism of the mind every night. There is a silent truth that we humans have been programmed to fight since ancient times. We were taught that protecting an opinion is like protecting territory. Over decades, this habit has become a deep-rooted instinct. The moment someone denies what you believe in, your brain does not view it as an exchange of information. It views it as a direct threat to your identity. When someone says you are wrong, your ego feels as if its very existence is being shaken. However, dear friend, if you are still enough to observe arguments in the light of awakening, you will recognize a very bitter reality. Almost all arguments in this world are not battles for the truth, but cries for help from insecurity. When someone raises their voice at you, usually it is not because they are strong. It could be because they just had a bad day and are looking for a place to dump their emotional rubbish. It could be a soul bearing too many old scars, so it always looks at the world through the lens of attack. Or it is an ego trembling from a lack of recognition, so it must try to demean others to feel bigger itself. When you see through that, behind those sharp words is a bleeding heart or a panicking mind, the anger inside you will automatically vanish, making way for a profound empathy. In the deep wisdom of the Buddha, he taught that all suffering originates from attachment. We argue because we cling too tightly to three invisible chains. First is clinging to our views, believing our perspective is the only right one. Second is clinging to the need to be right, considering winning in words as the yardstick of dignity. And third is clinging to the need to be understood. We exhaust ourselves, trying to force others to see the world our way. Try taking a deep breath and feel the expansiveness of your chest when loosening those strings of attachment. Engrave this liberating truth into your mind. You do not need everyone to agree with you for your truth to remain valid. You don't need everyone to agree with you for your truth to remain valid. The truth is, like the moon high above, whether someone praises it as radiant or someone says it is hazy, the moon simply exists with all its sovereign beauty. It does not need the consensus of the crowd to shine. True peace at this age does not come from conquering the minds of others, but comes from you realizing that your value does not increase when you win an argument, and neither does it decrease when someone misunderstands you. Tonight, grant your soul an ultimate reconciliation. Allow others to be wrong, allow them to hold their prejudices, and allow yourself to stand outside that vortex. When you no longer have the need to fix the thoughts of the world, you will find yourself immensely rich in energy. Sleep in the sovereignty of someone who has found a sturdy anchor right inside themselves, where the truth needs no explanation and peace needs no audience. The art of non-reaction. When silence is ultimate power. There is a deep-rooted misconception that society often sows into our minds, that silence is submission, that not speaking up is cowardice, and whoever does not react when attacked is a loser. However, dear friend, the wisdom of awakening whispers a completely opposite truth. Non-reaction is not the absence of strength. It is exactly the highest form of self-mastery. Try imagining a scene that perhaps any of us has experienced. You are standing face to face with a person blazing with anger. Their face is red, Their words are as sharp as knife blades, and they are trying their best to drag you into their vortex of chaos. They want you to explain. They crave to see you hurt, and they wait for an explosion from you to feed their own fire. In that suffocating moment, your heartbeat starts to accelerate. The old instinct urges you to draw your sword, but exactly at that moment, you take a leap of consciousness. You choose to do nothing at all. You stand there, solid and expansive. You look at them with the tolerant eyes of a person observing a thunderstorm from behind a safe glass door. You do not argue, do not justify, not even a judgmental frown. You are simply a still presence. Do you know what will happen next? When a blazing fire has no oxygen, it will die out on its own. When an attacker launches blows that only touch nothingness, they will soon feel exhausted and empty. By not reacting, you have won without launching a single move. You win not because you defeated the other person, but because you have completely mastered your inner kingdom. The Buddha once left a majestic teaching, like a bell echoing amidst the mountains and forests. The wind can blow up dust, but can never shake a mountain. Tonight, I invite you to make a great shift. Become that mountain. Why does non-reaction carry such great power? To understand this, you need to remember a core truth, a secret that the modern world always tries to hide from you. Your attention is exactly the most precious asset you possess. Attention is the most valuable thing you have. In the universe of energy, attention is exactly the blood of the soul. Wherever you place your attention, you are giving life and power to that place. When you react to an insult, you are using the most precious asset of your life to nourish the negativity of another person. You are voluntarily draining your healing vital energy source just in exchange for a petty feeling of frustration. Every heartbeat racing because of anger, every panting breath because of arguing, is a time you are going spiritually bankrupt. The person provoking you is actually an energy thief. They do not need your money, they need your agitation. In your twilight years, when the rhythm of time is no longer an endless ocean, why are you willing to throw your pearls of time into the garbage pile of meaningless confrontations? Non-reaction is exactly how you tell the world that my peace is priceless. And you do not have enough authority to take away even a small ripple in my heart. Modern neuroscience calls this mastering the amygdala, the alarm center of the brain. When you choose not to react, you are directly teaching your nervous system a new instinct, the instinct of serenity. You are informing every cell that the border is safe, that no battle is worth us depleting our internal panacea. Tonight, when you lie still under the warm blanket, feel the solidity of your spine, like the stone core of an ancient mountain. Let all the noise of the world, all judgments and all provocations, just be dust particles gliding across your surface. They cannot penetrate inside, cannot scratch your pure being. Sleep in the aura of someone who has reclaimed the mastery of attention. You owe the world no response at all. You only owe yourself a still heart to be able to hear the whisper of the universe, right in every breath tonight. Let yourself be weightless, be immense, and be whole in the power of majestic silence. 3 gates of words, the art of knowing when to speak up. Greetings. When our minds have gradually become as solid as an ancient mountain, no longer easily shaken by the dust particles of judgment of the world, I want to invite you to go deeper with me into another bridge of wisdom. Because, living among humanity, we cannot remain silent forever like a boulder. There will be times life requires you to speak up. But how do we ensure our voice does not become an energy drain, but rather a healing resource for ourselves and others? The greatest human paradox is that we frequently say things that should be kept secret and remain silent about things that should be uttered. We speak up when anger is exploding, when the hurt ego needs to be soothed, but choose cold silence when a loved one needs a tolerant word or understanding. To find this sacred balance point, the Buddha gave us a priceless tool for refining words. He taught that, before allowing a word to escape your lips, let that word pass through 3 filtering gates. If the word cannot pass through all 3 of these gates, then silence is exactly the noblest treasure you should keep. The first gate is this word, the truth. In the stillness of the twilight years, you realize that lies, or even words inflating reality just to please others, are all torturous burdens for the nervous system. An untruthful word is like a grain of sand in the eyes of awareness. It blurs your lucidity. Tonight, allow yourself to shed all needs to embellish reality. Only the truth brings true relief, the second gate. Is this word truly necessary? This is the gate that many of us frequently miss. We speak just to fill the void of silence, speak to show off knowledge, or speak about gossip unrelated to our peace. You know what? Every useless word is an energy leak. Ask yourself, if I don't say this, does the world lose anything precious? If the answer is no, choose majestic silence. Let that energy return to nourish your own breath. The third gate is this word kind. A word can be true, can be necessary, but if it carries the venom of harshness, it will destroy the healing of both the speaker and the listener. The wisdom of a mature soul lies in how we turn words into sweet dew to water life, not using them as arrows to inflict injury. Dear friend, understand this truth. Wise silence is not cowardice, and awakened speech is not noise. Wisdom is exactly the ability to recognize that fragile difference. When you learn how to only say things that are truthful, necessary, and kind, you will be amazed to notice your mind becoming strangely clear. You no longer owe the world redundant explanations. Your words now carry the weight of serenity, carry the fragrance of compassion. Tonight, perform an act of purification. Smile at all clumsy words in the past and whisper, from now on, I choose words like, choosing precious pearls. Sleep in the aura of someone who has mastered the exit of their consciousness. When the rhythm of speech blends with the beat of stillness, you will find yourself no longer exhausted by the world, but gliding on this life with the utmost elegance and wholeness. Let your breath tonight wash away all agitations, returning to you sacred stillness, right in every most silent thought. Storm. Soothing tactics, the art of protecting dignity. Greetings. When we have equipped ourselves with the three gates of words, I invite you to step into a more practical situation with me, the moment the fire of conflict flares up right before your eyes. How do we avoid getting burned? How do we protect the dignity of an awakened soul when the opponent is trying to drag us into a battle? Tonight, I want to give you silent but powerful shields to soothe all storms of the heart, right as they just begin to bloom. The first shield I invite you to practice is exactly the art of neutral bridges. In tense moments, the ego often urges us to refute, "You are wrong," or "I disagree." Exactly these confrontational words are fuel for the fire to erupt. Instead, try using sentences like soft bridges. I understand your perspective, or I acknowledge what you just shared. You know what? The sentence, I understand what you mean, does not mean you agree that they are right. It only means you are present and listening. If the atmosphere becomes too suffocating, bravely use the power of delay. We will talk about this another time, when we both feel more comfortable. When you refuse to jump into the vortex immediately, you are protecting your nervous system from overload and keeping your shoulders from bracing stiffly due to defensiveness. The second shield, and also a profound awakening, is exactly stopping taking all attacks personally. Understand this tolerant truth. The words of others are actually a mirror reflecting their internal climate, not a definition of your value. When someone is angry, it is because they are in pain. When someone criticizes, it is because they are afraid. Their venom is their problem, not your reality. When you realize you have no obligation to pick up the rubbish gift that someone else throws, you will find yourself strangely expansive. Besides that, I invite you to cherish the power of selective silence. In many situations, silence is not giving up. Silence is how you declare that this dialogue is not worthy of my vital energy. Your silence creates a sacred void where the opponent's fire no longer has oxygen to keep burning. And sometimes, the most powerful antidote is exactly a tolerant smile. Not a sarcastic smile, but the smile of someone who has seen through the ridiculousness of the attached ego. When you can smile gently at a provocation, you are sending an ultimate peace signal to every cell in your body. You are telling your heart that everything is fine, there is no battle here at all. Engrave this liberating truth into your mind before closing your eyes. You are not obligated to participate in every conflict that others invite you to. You are not obligated to participate in every conflict. Many people mistakenly think that being present in every argument is a manifestation of care or responsibility. But actually, wisdom lies in knowing exactly where we should place our attention. Tonight, allow yourself to retire from the role of peacemaker or warrior. You have gone far enough to understand that the greatest victory is not defeating others, but fully preserving the stability of your heartbeat amidst thousands of worldly changes. Let these soothing tactics be a soft silk blanket sheltering your soul. When you stop entering the plays of the world, your energy will automatically return to water the deepest healing. The night is deep. Let all disputes rest, returning to you a pure heart, ready to melt into deep sleep and absolute non-affair. Freedom from the hooks, when the mind no longer has clinging points. Greetings. After we have cleared the fragments of conflict with wise tactics, I invite you to step into the deepest layer of liberation with me. This is no longer a matter of ordinary interpersonal behavior, but a journey to break the invisible chains binding your soul to the world. I call it the art of living without getting hooked. Try quietly observing a haunting image. A small fish swimming amidst the water stream. Just because of a small bait, it rushes forward, only to be dragged completely out of the clear blue water by the hook. Dear friend, do you ever feel you are exactly like that fish? Cruelly, most of us are living in a state of being hostages to the actions of others. If someone smiles, we feel happy. If someone frowns, we feel insecure. And if someone drops an insult, we immediately let our souls be dragged by them throughout a long day. We have unintentionally turned ourselves into passive chess pieces on the banquet table of external circumstances, where our peace entirely depends on how the world treats us. Tonight, Buddhist wisdom gifts you a shocking awakening so you can reclaim your mastery. Look very closely at the bad days you have gone through. Did the pain truly come from 10 seconds of a person dropping harsh words? Or did it come from the 10 hours after that, when you tossed and turned to chew over that anger in your mind? The liberating truth is this: a bad day is often not created by what happened, but created by how you reacted to it. In the teaching on detachment, the Buddha taught that fatigue arises because we have too many clinging points for the hooks of the world to drag. We cling to the need to be recognized, cling to the craving to always be the one who is right, and cling to the illusion that everyone must understand us. Exactly these attachments are the loopholes for the venom of provocation to seep deep into your blood vessels. True freedom in the twilight years is not a world without noise, but a soul that has become so smooth that not a single hook of criticism or judgment can latch onto it anymore. When you dare to abandon the need to win, when you stop borrowing your self-worth from the praises of strangers, you will find yourself becoming inviolable. Imagine your soul tonight is like a clear stream of water. The hook can be thrown down, but water has no shape to be caught. Water simply embraces the hook, lets it pass by, and continues its still flow toward the ocean. Understand this soothing truth. You owe the world no agitation at all. You only owe yourself an unshaken mindset. The night is deep. The breath is light. Tonight, allow yourself to rest in that absolute freedom. Whisper to yourself, I am the sky. All words out there are just drifting clouds. I do not hold on, so I am not trapped. When you loosen your grip on the attached ego, you will find your chest strangely expansive. Sleep in the aura of sovereignty, where your peace is no longer a hostage, but has become an eternal home that no one can take away anymore. Training the mind. When composure becomes an instinct, Greetings. After the breath has taken our hands to the shore of freedom, where the hooks of the world no longer have clinging points, I invite you to build a final bridge with me. There is a tolerant truth that I want to gift you tonight. Emotional stability is not an innate gift exclusively for saints and sages. It is actually a skill that anyone can train. You do not need to change your personality. You only need to train the muscle of awakening. Imagine your mind is like an ancient temple. To keep the temple always pure amidst the ever-changing flow of life, we need to practice the art of an awake guardian through 6 daily training bridges. The first action is learning to observe. Do not try to control the mind. Just stand still like a traveler standing by the roadside watching the traffic go by. When an anxious or angry thought arises, whisper, a guest named frustration is visiting. As long as you identify it, its power over you has decreased by half. Next, trace the origin of the wave. Ask yourself in silence, does this pain truly come from their words, or from the fear of being looked down upon inside me? When you find the root, the mist of misunderstanding will automatically dissipate. And then, practice detachment. Neuroscience has proven that a chemical wave of emotion only lasts about 90 seconds. If after 90 seconds you still feel angry, it is because you are using thoughts to feed it. Tonight, promise yourself, when an agitation comes, I will only breathe and let those 90 seconds pass without adding any judgment. Moreover, give yourself short, meditative silent pauses during the day. No need to sit for hours on a grass mat. Sometimes it is just 30 seconds you are fully present with the warmth of a teacup in your hand. Exactly these small anchors will weave a safety net for your nervous system against the impacts of ordinary life. Besides that, I invite you to learn how to guard the energy environment. You do not owe the world having to receive all negative news or participate in all gossiping groups. Bravely close the door of the mind temple to what drains your vitality. And finally, the most magical antidote is exactly tolerant humor. Learn to smile at the ridiculousness of the I trying to win. When you can burst out laughing at your own hot temper, that is when that ego officially loses control. Engrave this truth into your mind. Composure is a choice repeated every day. Tonight, you are no longer a tired warrior. You are an artisan, meticulously polishing the gem of your consciousness. The stability you are building will become a solid inner resource. So tomorrow you step out into life with an elegant, unhurried demeanor amidst thousands of worldly changes. Sleep in the relief of a soul that has found a harbor right inside itself, where no noise can touch, and peace is the only existing reality. Greetings. Our journey of consciousness tonight through the valleys of words has gradually arrived at the harbor of absolute stillness. Now, as the boat of your mind is preparing to drop anchor amidst the ocean of sovereignty, I want to invite you to stop for a bit, to look back at the whole picture of the power of non-reaction that we have sketched together. We have decoded together that every provocation is just a toxic gift that you have the right to refuse to accept. You have learned how to stand firm like a mountain against the winds of judgment, known how to filter words through 3 sacred gates, and taken the greatest leap, reclaiming precious attention to nourish your own inner kingdom. Engrave this final truth before closing your eyelids. True peace never comes from how many people you defeat or how you prove yourself right. True peace only blossoms the very moment you choose to protect your heartbeat instead of choosing to protect the attached ego. Tonight, you no longer owe the world any response at all. You have gone far enough to understand that wise silence is exactly the most majestic answer to all agitations. If the sharings tonight have watered your soul with a little warmth, please spread this good energy with a like button and subscribe to the channel. That is how we together light the lamps of awakening, guiding each other to walk in the dignity of the soul. And right now, before sinking into the dream of rebirth, I invite you to leave a comment below as a sacred commitment to yourself. I choose peace. Wishing you a long night of peace as weightless as sky clouds and waking up radiantly in the dawn of lucidity. Goodbye, and see you again in the next journeys of awakening.